What's going on, y'all? Let me speak up a little louder. My name is Gracie Phoenix, and I'm here to give you a 5-year update video on my journey to healing from narcissistic abuse and how I healed and the steps that I took, and also how long it took, because I'm guessing it might have taken a little less, but once I got to the end of it, I realized that I only needed one thing to kind of, close the chapter. But at the same time, everything that I learned along the way was way worth it. So I'm not really complaining about the length that it took, but the confusion and the pain and stuff I could have done without. But anyway, so 5 years later, my update on how I healed from narcissistic abuse, and I have a ton of notes that I wrote, so I'm going to go through them. And this is an update. I'm not going to say completely healed, but definitely at a level to where I'm not as affected as much, or I'm not as triggered, or, again, there are some things that may rub me the wrong way, or some things that I try to avoid talking about because maybe I'm just not ready or whatever. But as a whole, shit, I'm in there. 5 years later. So first thing is first. The first thing, one of the first steps to my healing journey is research. The more research I did on narcissistic personality disorder, the better I understood the reasoning behind the reason why the person abused me, the reason why my ex abused me. I mean, not the specific reason, but just some general reasons as to why they did what they did. Not that I'm justifying it or trying to freaking, forgive it, or, forget it and pretend like whatever they went through justifies why they hurt me. But at the same time, just as for me, understanding some of the backstory behind people and their behavior kind of helps me to understand them better, as opposed to feeling like isolated or taking it personally, because not only did it happen to me, but it happened to previous women before me, and it's going to happen to people after me as well. So that's one thing I had to kind of, through research, I realized that it wasn't personal. I wasn't like a personal, subject matter. I was just perfect timing, perfect bait, and it just went, Second thing was spreading awareness to either other victims, survivors, potential victims, people who had no idea what they were up against. Just spreading the awareness and making sure I got the information out there as much as possible. I still do it today. Sharing is caring. I'm not trying to hold on to any information that I learn. I'll make sure I share it with anybody and any, globally, social media, in intimate settings, you name it. It's going to come up. I'm going to make sure that I address it, when, the subject presents itself and stuff like that. I'm not going to just bring it up out the blue. But, if there's a situation and, there's something going on and I say, oh, that's a red flag, then, that's another way of spreading awareness and sharing what you learn, sharing the things that I learned with people who have no idea that there is a actual definition, a term, there's language behind all of this stuff. Another thing, again, it goes along with sharing, is helping others. I've, not only have I helped others, me helping others is also helping myself, because, the more I can help someone, the better I feel about sharing, because I don't feel so alone first off. And secondly, like, if I can help someone understand what they're going through, then I feel like I've done something in the world, little things. I'm not trying to make, I don't mind being a super huge motivator, speaker, whatever, but if I can help people along the way, I am, all for it. So also using creativity. I've used creativity in so many different ways. I don't know how many of you are creative, but if any of you have experienced narcissistic abuse and you're going through the healing journey, I mean, if you have a creative bone in your body, try to use some of that to channel your anger, your confusion, writing, painting, drawing, journaling, whatever, however you want to get it out, release it. If you want to share it, cool. If you don't. I mean, people who aren't creative, I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe there's other ways you could, if you're a logical type of person, maybe you're good at numbers or something, maybe you can figure out a way to, use numbers or language, whatever, you know what I'm saying, in your logical way of processing things. Maybe, I mean, I don't know about, the non-creative. I think we all have some creativity within us, and especially with the anger, frustration, confusion, and just the sheer freaking disbelief and utter, just fucking confusion. I mean, something's gonna spark within you to where you have to release it. So if you feel like you need to release it and you have something you want to say, making YouTube videos, sharing with like-minded people, which is hard to find, I'll get into that in the next topic. But if you have to, if you feel the need to release all of this, just compacted, all of these feelings that have been compiled on top of one another, releasing it through creative forms is a good way, even if you have to find someone to do the creative part for you while you just guide them through the things you want them to do, whatever. Anyway, the one thing that I have also, like I said, in my research over the years, is basically repeated and biased opinions from survivor channels, including mine. So I'm definitely not excluding my channel and my opinion and stuff, but biased opinion and stuff is helpful, or at least for me it was helpful, and it was validating, and it was like, it was a bubble for me. It was like, thank God, I would never wish this on anybody except for the narcissists themselves. Haha, I don't care. Call me what you want, whatever. But, all of my concern and everything that I was going through, I felt isolated. So, learning through these channels and following some of these other, survivors that are, talking about their experiences and biased experiences, including mine. Because, everybody feels their situation is unique, and I feel like my situation is, probably as unique as they come, but maybe not, what I'm saying? Maybe there's somebody who has a, but again, you can't really compare situations based off of, from one to the next. Every situation has their own, dynamic. But, again, me, what I found out is like repeated opinions from survivors and other, therapists and just people who are, spreading awareness on narcissistic abuse was, it got me, it got me far, but it only got me, for me, there was a cap for how far it could take me. Cause it was helpful, but it wasn't enough for me to officially let go to let everything go. Like I needed something further, and I needed facts and stuff, and I'm going to get into that later. Again, I needed one specific answer, and towards the end I'll tell you what that one answer was. One answer fixed everything, answered all my questions in one simple sentence, and once I heard that sentence, that was it. I was like, thank you. And 5 years later, I'm like, you couldn't have taught me that shit like 5 years ago. But, hey, I wasn't ready for it then. And everything that I learned along the way was what I needed to grow. So I'm not complaining about it. But it's still, if I had learned that earlier on, I probably would have. Anyway, another way, that I helped, another thing that helped me to heal was groups, Facebook groups, Instagram groups, YouTube groups, because you could talk to people who could relate to you. You had a good support system. You didn't feel so isolated. I didn't feel so isolated. I felt like there's literally a community of people who are, just distraught and depressed and hurt and confused and all of these other, words. But, again, it's not for me, it wasn't enough. Again, just recently, it came to a point where all of the above just wasn't getting me exactly what I needed. And I knew that early on, but I was so interested. I was so determined. I was so into learning. So, I guess my end goal to actually get the final answer I was looking for, I may have been pushing that off, maybe subconsciously or whatever, because I dove in head first because I needed to know. And the more I learned, the more I felt liberated, the more, and for me, it also helped me to not repeat it. You know what I'm saying? I have come across several, people with showing red flags and stuff, and cutting people off before my ex-husband, narcissistic husband, for me was easy. But after him, during him and stuff, with him, it was hard for me to do because, it was more deeply entangled and more deeply enmeshed. So me gathering myself again and learning what I've been learning has helped me to gain my footing again and realize that, hold on, I don't like the way they talk to me. If you can address it and they can work on it, or if they, that's cool. But if they continue and they fight it and try to find excuses and try to, like defend themselves against, your boundaries, then for me that's one of the things for me that I just, I couldn't allow anymore. Cause I had I figured out the red flags and stuff, and me learning about all the things that were not cool for me. It was easy for me to let people go. So I have, countless people have just been literally cut off, blocked. I don't give a shit. And I'm not looking back like, oh my God, are they gonna, fuck it. So again, therapy, another thing that helped is therapy. Because with therapy, first things first, my first therapist, awesome as hell. Like, I love her for everything she's done for me, but I needed her the second time. I had two therapists. My first therapist should have been my second, and my second therapist should have been my first. But again, you can't change time, and you can't go back and, freaking, mope about the things that you can't cry with spilled milk or beat a dead horse. So, but my first therapist was trying to get me to go inward to kind of find who I am, find Gracie. But what I needed to do was to understand what happened to me and to just define it. And then from there, I could get to know me. I know everybody's different. Some people go inward first, and then maybe they study, the backstory. But for me personally, I needed more details. I had to study. I needed to go into the depth of the situation first and what happened to me before I could focus on me, because again, I was confused. I didn't know which end was up. I couldn't even trust my own judgment. So for me, trying to find Gracie was the last thing on my mind. I knew I was going to get there, but it wasn't the first thing that I was focusing on. So with my first therapist, that was what she had done, and I wasn't ready for that method yet. But my second therapist was, she was helpful because she gave it a term, with actual definition, with research behind it to back it, with examples, with the complete definition of PTSD. She diagnosed me with PTSD, and I'm not really concerned with the title. I'm more concerned with the definition and the feelings around PTSD. It was more validating. It was more reassuring that I wasn't tripping. I wasn't crazy. Yes, what I was feeling was real. I wasn't just making it all up. She was like, okay, well, and not only did she say that, and we didn't say the word, the acronym much, but really ever until, after she had diagnosed it. But just talking about the PTSD and the feelings around this, the trauma, helped me to, validate, give me a little closure, gave me some language. It helped me to interpret, and it validated my feelings and validated my, how I was feeling inside. And it made me feel like, okay, I'm not tripping. She gets it. We get it. Now, what do we do? So, and then I guess I don't know, I don't have them numbered, but the next thing that helped me to heal or to get over, heal from narcissistic abuse is alone time. And I am an avid socialite. I enjoy being around people. I love the comfort of other people. I enjoy socializing. I am always out in public. I'm always, mingling. That's my thing. I like it. It's not that I want to be the center of attention, but I like being around my friends and my family, and even sometimes strangers, as long as I feel comfortable. So me taking time off to be alone, it was an easy decision, but it was a rough road because I'm fighting myself. I mean, first I didn't want to be anywhere anyway. I didn't even want to go anywhere. Like, not only was I humiliated, I was scared. I was scared to get hurt again. I was scared to, push away the wrong person because I thought they were trying to abuse me too, or even bring in someone unknowingly who could abuse me. So I was scared. I was humiliated. I was damaged. I was broken, and I wasn't even in a place to be around other people anyway. So me stepping away was an easy decision, but I won't say lonely, but I was alone. I definitely wasn't lonely because I'm not lonely in my company ever, but I was alone. But that's what I needed, and I chose it. And, excuse me. I literally took 1 full year, and I didn't, give it a timeline or anything. I just did it as needed, and took the time I needed, and then, reemerged slowly as I could, whenever I could. But I took a year to get to know me again after abuse. And one thing, a few things that I did was I started listening to music that I used to like before I knew him. Because I couldn't listen to any music that any current music because, it would just trigger me. So I listened to music that I used to listen to when I was 11, 12, whatever, in the 90s. I would go and watch movies from my childhood. One of them was The Sound of Music. That's always, for me, that's like an automatic upper. It just makes me want to get up and start whatever. Just watching old movies, old TV shows, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Martin, Living Single, whatever. Just went back to where I was happy and started from there. And I didn't do that until I think maybe 3 years in to my journey when I started doing that specific tactic. And I continue to do it today. Another thing I was doing from the beginning was watching funny shit. I go to Facebook and, look up funny videos, or YouTube and just watch funny clips, Vines, whatever. And I would use comedy to help me heal, like to laugh. Where am I going? I'm going to, and this one will be, also when I took my me time, I made sure to make my family and friends, my loved ones, the closest people to me, I had to let them know that I was gonna be away, and they were gonna have to accept it, and I wasn't taking no for an answer, and I wasn't giving an explanation, because not only do they know where I'm coming from, I have cried to them over the course of just, my relationship with him, 5 years, and then the course of breaking up with him and going through all that. So they knew where my mental state was at. So they know that I wasn't just disappearing because, I was being selfish or whatever. I just needed to take some space. So I let my people know that I wouldn't be available. I won't be calling. I won't be texting. I might not even respond to your text, maybe here and there, but don't be offended if I don't call you or if I don't respond to your text. I needed to take some time for myself. No love lost, no disrespect. I had to go inward. This is when I was ready to go inward. I mean, even after, you know, the therapy, whatever, I said I was, you know, going inward, but I had to take me time. I had to take time away from people's advice, suggestions, questions, outside influences. I needed to be able to trust my own judgment again, trust my instincts, my gut, my intuition, to set my boundaries, plant my feet, you know, start, you know, clarifying and, you know, my foundation, and listen to myself again, start applying the previous knowledge that I've learned, experiences, and start, you know, applying all of the stuff that I've already gathered, and then plugging that into, you know, where I am now and where I want to go. My recent development. And I figured this out by myself. So, and it's funny because when I figured this part out, then I started seeing a whole bunch of videos about it. And I was like, damn, I mean, I could have sworn I made that shit up. But as soon as I said it and as soon as I started applying it, I started seeing videos about it. I was like, okay, so I am on the right track. So, you know, this whole time, you know, with the law of attraction, asking for what you want, blah, 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 you know, and I've done that in several occasions, and some occasions have worked, and some occasions have been my downfall. And I realized that I'm not in the place to, like, focus on the things that I do want. So what I did was I started focusing on the things that I didn't want. And as soon as I started doing that, then I started seeing more information on the TV or YouTube and stuff about, you know, figuring out what you don't want if you can't figure out, you know, what you do want. So that's where I'm starting from, and I'm applying that now. Starting with the things I don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like the things I will not allow, the things I will not tolerate, the things I do not want. And then, you know, over time, I'm guessing that the things I do want will start to appear and make you know, show their faces. Another thing is, this time alone, and this time taking me time, you know, focusing on me. And I won't say being selfish. I mean, you can say selfish if you want to. I don't care, whatever words you use it. I say I had to fill my cup because my cup was empty. So my cup being empty, I couldn't pour out to anyone else. I didn't have enough in my cup to share with anyone else. My cup was so empty that I was on E. I was running on E. I was running on fumes, on adrenaline, on autopilot. So I didn't have any energy to be there for anybody. And that's just what it is. And I apologize. And I mean, I hate that I had to go through that, but that's what it is. And I can't take that away. Because I had to realize that trusting your heart and your head, for me at least, was always guaranteed trouble. But once I started trusting my gut, everything made sense. It was crazy. Some people are like, trust your heart will lead you. No, your heart will get you fucked up. Your head is logical. Your head doesn't have much emotion attached, so your head can screw with you too. So with your gut, it's like a mixture of the two with a little extra sprinkle fairy dust on top to give you more intuition and guide you the way you need to go. So here we go. Years of searching. I mean, maybe I'm cocky, but I feel like I learned enough to earn a damn degree, a certificate, or some type of fucking specialization in this field. But whatever. I mean, I'm not. That's just me. Haha. But the personal experience platforms, you know, YouTube channels and groups and stuff, including my own, just was not enough to give me the last piece of the puzzle that was eating me up inside, that I just could not move on without, which is the closure. And you know, but there was a piece of the puzzle that, you know, opinions just weren't giving me, including my own opinions, because here we go. I needed to confirm one specific question that was sucking me dry, that was leaving me stuck. There was one thing that was keeping me so stuck that sometimes I'd even fall into his trap again and end up dating him all over again. But I mean, with more awareness, so I was definitely not as, naive or whatever, so, and I wasn't so hurt or hurt about certain things, but I was still hoping, I was holding on for dear life, hoping that, with that, holding on by a thread, that maybe there is a possibility. And the question was, did he ever love me? Or, what I'm saying, did they ever care? Was it all fake? Was it all real? I mean, how could they be so sweet sometimes and then just flip the switch, like it was nothing? And that was what was killing me. And this is one thing that I have to say and that I have to address. Empaths, therapists, people who really care about other people will never be able to think, fathom, understand, or go inside the mind of a monster. The people who are literally walking dead, there's no way we can relate to them. Like, for example, people can relate to what's similar to them. So a narcissist can relate to a narcissist, for example. Another example is explaining childbirth to a man, or explaining childbirth to someone who's never had a child before. There's no way you can explain that to someone because they haven't lived it. So same thing with people who have gone through emotional abuse, trying to talk to, loved ones or people who genuinely care, who haven't been through that or have already, moved on from it, may not be the right source for you. So empaths, therapists, and the general population will never be able to explain the mind of a narcissist, because the people who abuse other people or hurt other people or abusive people, narcissists, psychopaths, whatever, are people who have severe unresolved traumas of all kinds and have mastered their false identity. And another thing that is important to consider is the more people they inflict, the more people they break, the better they get at their craft. So they just evolve, and they just pick up whatever they learned from the last thing. Oh, where'd I go wrong here? And instead of learning how to fix themselves internally, they learn how to be a better manipulator. So what I did was, so I had to find the answers from the source, from an actual narcissist, and I'll get there. That's my last point. But speaking of unresolved issues, they've mastered their false identity, because my ex played me for the last time, and this was, I think, it's 2021 June. He pulled a stunt. I'm not even gonna sit up here in front, and I would, if I could give him an award myself, I would, because he played so good. He played this role so well. He deserves an Oscar award, the whole Golden Globe, all that shit, because he was so good at playing this role that, I at this point, I wasn't completely in, one foot in, one foot out. But at the same time, I did fall for it, at least half of the way. So he played me for the last time. I won't get into specifics, but if you really want to know, please, I can make a whole video about it, because it's all, it was so smooth. And as soon as I seen him play me, as soon as I seen his checkmate move, it was clear. I figured it out. He answered my question himself without even using his words to confirm it or to verify it for me. His actions were enough. But the final piece of the puzzle was from HD Tudor. I have a little sticky note that I keep on my computer, and I don't fucking play. Let me bring it in. Hold on. Can y'all see that? Anyone who has repeatedly abused you never could have loved you. And that's from H.G. Tudor, a narcissist himself. So I got this information directly from the horse's mouth on 3/12/21, 11:16 p.m. A couple days before my birthday. That final piece of the puzzle was so relieving. I felt so much lighter. I was done. That was the end. I didn't have, I mean, it cut the cord for me. My attachments had faded immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kept telling his punk ass, tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. I can handle the truth. It's the lies I can't handle. That coming from H.G. Tudor was the exact answer I was looking for this whole time. Did he ever love me? And I got this answer not only from H.G. Tudor, but also from Samvaknin. Samvaknin is another narcissist who makes videos on narcissistic personality disorder, explaining their personality disorder, NPD, to the rest of the world. So I had to stop looking at survivor videos and stop making survivor videos that I'm making now and start looking at facts from the horse's mouth, directly from narcissists who are explaining their disorder to the regular people, the regular population, general population. Samvaknin, H.G. Tudor, info about how they really feel. You know, the reason why survivors and victims get so caught up in details and trying to analyze the situation and try to give their own opinion and, you know what I'm saying, all of these things. Well, is he stalking me on Facebook? Does he think about me when I'm gone? Is he, you know what I'm saying, does he care, blah, blah, blah. All of these things is emotional, empathetic thinking. You know, emotional thinking is what HG says, but I say empathetic as well because emotional, whatever. So it's basically empathetic and emotional thinking that applies to us, not them. So when other channels go around saying, yeah, he's watching you, girl, you better believe it. I mean, not to say that they don't ever check. Don't get it twisted, because when their fuel levels are low and they don't have another victim lined up, don't best believe they're going to be, you know, they might just, you know, toggle around in there just a little bit. But they're not consistently stalking us. Like, shit, I mean, if anything, we may be consistently stalking them, which I stopped years ago. But they're not, you know what I'm saying? We continue to assume that they have time or even energy to freaking focus on their failed attempts at manipulation from the past partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, they do have people on the shelf. They have extras here and there that they rotate around, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. But like, we continue to assume that, you know, they give a shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I finally saw that, and again, Samvaknin said the same thing. He had a video, you know, in the same context. Anyone who's ever abused you never could have loved you. HG had like a short, like straight to the point, you know, video explaining that, and then Samvaknin took it into detail. So his was way longer. So, you know, I watched both of them, and they both said the same thing, but Sam just explained it in more detail and stuff. But emotional thinking and the way that we feel that they feel, if you think a narcissist feels a kind of way, and you're thinking from emotion and from empathy, just please stop doing that. Because if you're ready to get the actual truth and to find out how they really feel and to get facts, go look at H.G. Tudor, Tudor, Samvaknin, and there's a few others. I'll look them up and put their names in the description below. But if you want facts about these monsters, stop going to empaths. It's like asking a female about how a man feels about you, or going to, if you're a dude, you go to your father or your brother or your homeboy and be like, man, girls, and you know what I'm saying, and they just, all they can do is give you biased opinion. They can't give you opinion based on an actual female, you know, female facts from how females really feel. So if you want to find out about somebody, you have to find that the person who is actually going through the same thing to get those facts from. You can't go to, you know, someone who's unrelated, who can't relate, who's not in the same category. It's like talking to freaking zombie. It's like talking to an alien. I can't go to my homegirl and ask her if my man is really loves me. That's something you have to ask your father or your brother, or, you know what I'm saying, another cousin, male cousin or something. You know what I'm saying? So same thing with narcissism. Like, you can't get answers about narcissism from empaths. It's just impossible, because we can't understand, we can't relate. It's like talking to someone about giving, delivering a baby if they haven't done it. It's impossible. Same scenario. So again, I'm just 5 years later. Again, the journey was well worth it, but in the end, by the time I got tired of, all the opinions, then I started to manifest, the answers I was really searching for, which unexpectedly came from the horse's mouth, from the narcissists themselves, telling the regular general, public that, no, he never loved me. And again, like I said, he played me for the last time. And that was the confirmation before I got that information that anyone repeatedly abused you could never have loved you. So I figured that out before I even saw that video. And that was just extra confirmation, which I didn't even need, but it definitely helped. So if you want to find out about narcissism and you want to ask questions about how narcs really feel, go to the source. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, if you want support, by all means, go to the other channels and, people who can relate and who can validate your feelings, no doubt. But if you want hardcore facts, and if you need answers that are going to give you closure, you want to go to sources that are going to give you the honest truth rather than opinion. So anyway, I'm Gracie Phoenix. I'm tired. I'm about to lay down. I think the sun is coming up. Who freaking knows? I'm tired, y'all. I'm done. But that's the end, and that's where I'm at. And I just want y'all to understand, 5 years later, I'm grateful for my journey, but I could have learned this 5 years ago. It would have been so, whew. But yep, that was what I found out. So, and it wasn't even a tough pill to swallow. It was, it was a little jagged, but it wasn't like, it wasn't that hard, trust me. Because I was already there when he played me for the last time. I was like, oh shit, okay. This is how you gonna play me, all right. After that Oscar-nominated performance you put on, and this is what you gonna do? I was like, okay. Action, he didn't have to say shit. For me, that was my answer. And then I came across HD Tutor. Anyone who ever abused you never could have loved you. And I was like, well, so questions, comments, whatever, I'll put my email up in the box below. Let me know how your journey went, and how long it took. So that's it. Gracie Phoenix, peace out.